We tried that for 2-3 years, got a few clients, but did not make enough money.
I think it's always been kind of driven by growth and impact.
That business grew. In the 13 years that we ran that business, we served a lot of enterprise clients. We served a lot of unicorns in India.
Then I had the chance to experience more global culture when I was doing my PhD in pharmacology at Cambridge.
Generally, when it landed, I had the opportunity to work on it across a wide spectrum of ideas.
I would say it's just to really unlearn and relearn.
And therefore, what is the kind of format in which you ask, right? That's another aspect.
Hello viewers, welcome back to the latest episode of GIBS IRE Talks podcast powered by GIBS Business School, where innovation meets aspirations or inspiration, I would say. Well, I keep making the statement that for any country, the major pillar always lies in the amount of time and money you spend on innovation, research and entrepreneurship. If you look into any of the emerging economies, these are their primary pillars. And we are indeed happy at GIBS Business School that we have launched a program like IRE, which talks about innovation, research, entrepreneurship, and it's indeed a flagship program today. And in this event, one of the program is IRE Talks podcast, where we have hosted numerous entrepreneurs till date. And today, I'm very happy to host Ms. Swetha and Ms. Sripathi Krishnan, who have done immense contribution to this IRE. So on behalf of all my US, I extend my heartfelt welcome to you. Welcome, Ms. Swetha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sripathi. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. You can just call me Sri, easier.
Well, I always make this first question because I am always impressed by their beginnings. Because at times, when you say a story of your school days and the college days, it's nowhere related to the journey that you are actually having it now. So I'm really interested to know the journey back then. You, sir.
Sure. As weird as it may sound, but my education and the last 20 years that I've been working are in the same field. So it's a rarity these days, I would assume. But I started off in Bombay. I grew up in Bombay and Mumbai now. And I did my engineering in software and IT, information technology. I worked at a startup in Mumbai called Digite, which is a software, right? It's a new startup at that time. Right? Mm-hmm. Then I moved to Bangalore in like 2005 for being here. I worked in a company called Astrology, which is a very innovative company back then. My entrepreneurship journey started in around 2009 when, along with a few colleagues of mine, we started Hashton Technologies. Right? Mm-hmm. And Hashton Technologies, we had a successful exit, but we ran Hashton Technologies for around 13 odd years. We started as a software product that we were building for the India market, but one of the hard lessons that entrepreneurship teaches you is that not everything succeeds, right? Sure. So we were building back then something the equivalent of a Shopify that you have now for the India market. In 2009, there wasn't any of that. We tried that for 2-3 years, got a few clients, but did not make enough money. And what eventually happened was some of our colleagues from the US who had worked with us in the past, they told us, we've got this problem, we want to build this product. Can your team build it for us? Mm-hmm. So that started our journey into what we call as outsourced product development, which is someone else is the entrepreneur. We are helping them build their software product. That business grew. In the 13 years that we ran that business, we served a lot of enterprise clients. We served a lot of unicorns in India. And built a lot of innovative products through that. Eventually, we got acquired by Deloitte, and in 2000s in the COVID time. The last 3 years or so, I was managing director at Deloitte, where again in my role at Deloitte, I used to lead a lot of generative AI related initiatives for Deloitte, Deloitte US actually. Right? But once you're a founder, an entrepreneur, you want to continue to live that life. So around 5-6 months ago, I left, and the same founding team that were at Hashton, we all left Deloitte and started Think41. So that's the whole journey and background. And
Swetha, how about you? Were you also like typical girl student, very studious?
Very.
Sorry to ask that, but it's a fact.
It's a fact, so I'm not going to deny it.
I'm making that statement.
Yeah, I've been quite studious, class topper category.
See,
right?
my guess was right.
So my journey has been very different. I think it's always been kind of driven by growth and impact. When I say growth, it's my own personal growth. That is one thing. So I love to be in situations where I'm uncomfortable. That gives me kind of an opportunity to grow on different axes. And when I say impact, it's more that the time and the energy that I invest in doing anything, I would like to see it impact the real world. So there is one that's inward focused, one that's outward focused. So that is what has been my more the dictating the journey that I've been on. And my father, he was in a transferable role. So I have studied in 7 different schools over the 12 years of formal education.
Right.
So I think that is
You take it as an advantage, or
I
you
take it as an advantage. Because then you have to adapt, then you have to learn, and when you learn, you grow.
That's the biggest character of an entrepreneur.
So I think that's been that. And then, yeah, very fortunate that my parents never really pushed me to be studious. It just so happened, right? So I think that's
Every girl wouldn't make the statement.
yeah, so they were normally, I mean, it was more or less very KPI driven right from a young age. I think that has also kind of stood with me.
KPI driven.
Which is my mother, I would remember, she would say, it doesn't matter. You are outside playing for 6 hours, we don't care, as long as your grades are great. So I think that's what I mean by do whatever as long as you hit the KPI. So that has set me up, and I think I went through some of my fondest memories also where I grew a lot was in Anna University, where I did my BTech in Industrial Biotechnology. Then I had the chance to experience more global culture when I was doing my PhD in pharmacology at Cambridge. But I've always said, that it makes a lot more impact when you do your work in India. So as soon as I finished, came back, and since then I've always been in roles that has been more 0 to 1, I would say. First employee for an initiative within a large educational institute, followed by being a program manager for putting innovations on the ground in health tech, then part of more the founding team for another startup in rural healthcare delivery.
Your journey seemed to be more of a choice. I never meant it was an accidental for you, because usually entrepreneur says my entrepreneurial journey began with an accident.
Right.
Yours looked like more of a choice.
Yeah, I think it has been intentional in the thought process. Right. So at SwissNext, which was the previous role that I had, that is where I got into the breadth. Right. So it was no longer just looking at health or life sciences that I studied, was more looking at the breadth. So one day it could be something related to sustainability, and another day to edtech. And that again made me comfortable with a lot of things. And how the entrepreneurial journey started is more by, at the time that I was also trying to recruit some people for my own team. And then there are certain set of challenges that come with it, whether it's interviewer fatigue that happens, or the time that you still have to do your own work, and then on top you have to do these interviews, etc. And then I was hiring for a replacement. That meant that more job was also there, like there was more workload. So at that time is when I saw what Shree's concept was, really what is it that they were building, and therefore I could make a connect very quickly. Right? And then we had a lot of discussion. So I think that's how I moved over from a stable job more on this side.
This side.
Yes.
I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is all about, finding solutions to the problems that you face on a regular basis. I ask this question to everyone who comes to this podcast. What was your parents' reaction? I would begin with you when you decided to take this entrepreneurial journey. I don't know, I always get fascinated by this question, because I do get fascinated by the answers as well.
I don't know, it's been 18 years ago now, since I started this. So I don't think I quite remember.
They were happy, they were supportive.
They were supportive. They were also, I will just say that he'll do something. So they were supportive. But to, soften the blow, so to say, right? I started my entrepreneurship by doing consulting on the side.
Okay.
So for about a year, the company that I had left, they offered me a position where I could work remotely in that time.
Okay.
As a consultant, work for 20 hours, and at that time they were giving me salary in dollars, and software was whatever it was in them, right? So I could essentially meet my existing salary, working half the time, and have a lot more time. But which also meant that you're doing two things at the same time.
You experienced work from home long back.
A very long time back, yeah.
We only realized it after 2020.
Software in that sense is, at least my field was more open to that. So yeah, so that is how I started at least getting into entrepreneurship.
Shweta, how about yours? What was your parents' reaction?
I think both my parents and in-laws have been very supportive, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, she'll figure it out. And they also know that, I like this new experience, for example. So it is like, yeah, it was kind of coming.
Sripathi sir, let's talk about Recruit41 or Think41.
Yeah.
How did it all began and where are we moving ahead now?
So there's two things, right? When I was at Deloitte and the whole generative AI wave just started, ChatGPT got released, and so I was in that position of what you would call entrepreneurship, but inside the firm, inside Deloitte, right? So I was doing a lot of engagements where we were using generative AI for our clients and as well as for our own internal use. I had a big team we had around 150, 180 odd people building generative AI related products, and I was sort of managing the engineering side of it. Right? I was leading on. So that gave me this bird's eye view of what works, what doesn't work, what are client problems, what are real problems, does this technology even work or not? So that's my background, right? Because I come from engineering and generative AI. When it landed, I had the opportunity to work on it across a wide spectrum of ideas. So the idea after leaving Deloitte was that given that platform, we want to do generative AI related product development and consulting for our clients. That's Think41, and 41 stands for AI. Right? So very focused on solving generative AI related problems for our clients. That's Think41. Now we started and we said, well, we need a team. We need to hire people. And when you face that problem, you had all the traditional routes. But one thing that we were very clear is, if we are an AI company, we want all our business processes to be AI first. And so when we were tasked to say, okay, let's hire a team, we said, why don't we build a bot that takes interviews? It was a challenge that someone threw at us. Why don't we try it out? We said, okay. We did one thing led to another. We had a hackathon. We built something. It worked, right? And we tried it out at some 50 people, and surprisingly, it held together, and we had to do a lot of things behind the scenes to figure out whether the candidate was good or not. But that initial idea and gave us confidence that this is a useful thing, people would want to buy it. So 2-3 months later, we said, let's take this in its own roadmap and we will offer this. So what started as a pain point for us, we said, let's take this, and then we showed it to people, we showed it to others in our network. We did a lot of pilots, and positive has been feedback, good feedback throughout, right? Positive feedback. So we kept on investing, and now we're branching it off as a separate firm.
So you mean to say your pain point became your product?
Pain point became a product, absolutely.
I think viewers, that is one thing you need to really note. That's a real, I would say, entrepreneurial character comes into the place where you really identify the ongoing problems and devise a solution for it. Yeah. Well, how about the reverse of it? How about, like, for example, the candidate who's appearing for the interview also designs a bot which would answer on his behalf?
100%. There are softwares already. So just so that you know, right? There is a software which, if you go do a meeting on Zoom, it will record your entire Zoom meeting in real time, right, and will tell you, answer this. Okay. So that happens. All of that software happens when people look at ChatGPT on the side and they are answering it. So it is very common. Um,
I saw a very recent video where somebody else was answering on the candidate's behalf.
Yes. So all of that exists, and what we have realized over that time period is it becomes less of a problem when you move into behavioral questions. When you look at, tell me from your experience, how did you do this? It becomes less of a problem when you are trying to give a case study. And I'll give you another perspective, right? Which is,
Sorry to interrupt. You guys face this problem?
we do, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that we say, right? Interview should also be at least resemble somewhat to what the job you're hiring for, right? So we also believe in giving like case studies or scenarios in which we're asking the candidate to make a PowerPoint presentation on how to do a marketing plan for that. Now that becomes surprisingly difficult to cheat in, right? And also another aspect of it, in your job, when we hire you, we are expecting you to use Gen AI. So in a way, we are also at least, encouraging them to give us the final outcome. How would you achieve this marketing plan? If you have to use ChatGPT for that, by all means. But we are looking at your thought process. We're looking how you're making a presentation, and those are things that at least today can't be cheated on as easily. At least in your life setting.
Okay.
So just to explain that a bit further, essentially we have a feature that is still undergoing testing, initial testing. But the point is that the candidate is able to share their screen.
Correct.
So let's say, like you mentioned, right, make a marketing plan. So what we tell the candidates, share your screen. So their entire screen has to be shared and they have to work on it. Our AI is able to recognize what the candidate is doing in real time
Yes, these
and
features are
ask
built in.
questions that are related to that. Right? So there is also coding. So we are also able to evaluate coding. For example, we are able to evaluate, this is an MBA school and there are case studies that are present. So we are able to give a case study, give the background information already. So each candidate's starting point is very different because it depends on how you think. So somebody gives me a case study, maybe I'm going to start off with a budget angle, right? Is that what is the budget? So then I will start thinking along that line. Maybe if somebody gives that to you, you might think, well, how can I maximize the revenue? And therefore the questions that you ask pertaining to the case are going to be related to that. So we are able to do this in real time and then do an assessment. So that is how we feel that, whether you are cheating or not, it's not so much reflecting. And also there is an inherent belief, like when you are on the job, it's not like an exam. The knowledge that is available is there. So a lot of it really depends on what piece of knowledge you choose to capitalize on. What piece of knowledge and how you apply it to a real life setting, which is what a lot of employers really want to see. Some of them might invite you over to the office in order to do, a day at the office. Now it's becoming more common for this specific purpose. Now you also want to know attributes. Like you mentioned, startup always goes with a little bit of chaos and changing priorities. So can a person cope with that? Can we give a scenario that the person is able to then react to it? So these are the things that we are able to do well.
Well, that's lovely. Shweta, I would like to ask you this question because I tend to hear this a lot from my students. You just had a session with the students. I'm sure they might have asked you this. There's a misconception. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. They say AI will eat our jobs. Is it true? What's your views on this?
I'm going to say that AI is there.
Was this question asked by students? No.
So I believe that AI plus human. If you can, let's say just a human is doing a job, maybe they take 1 hour to do it. Now in that same 1 hour, a combination of AI plus human, if you can do 4 jobs, so the productivity gain is what you really get. So take the example of Recruit41 itself, right? And say you are the hiring manager and you have a lot of people that you want to interview. Now there is an initial part wherein your thought and your mind and the way in which you want to set up the interview is yours. So you are saying, I am looking for this kind of profile that I will only get by asking these kind of questions or presenting this kind of case. That is the human thought. And where the productivity gain is really happening, imagine you had to interview the 50 people or the 100 people. There is the whole schedule reschedule problem that is there. That means you are really giving 50 hours of yours in totality. That also means on top of it, there is also the work in order to capture everything that you spoke. Lastly, at some point, I'm sure after 10 interviews, you're feeling the fatigue because you want to be true to all the candidates. So therefore, you say, I have to ask similar set of questions to everybody so that at the end I can evaluate, right? But that takes a toll on you. So this is when we say AI can come in, take off these kind of repetitive things, be able to present you in 24 hours you can finish all the 50 candidates, right? You say link is there, you send it to all the 50 candidates and you are saying, listen, the link is open for 24 hours. You take it whenever you are available. So maybe some candidate is traveling, he can only do it at 2 in the night. It's still there. Somebody else has done it during their lunchtime. It doesn't matter. So basically you have reduced the time and you have an efficiency gain.
Sripathi sir, I'll ask you this question. Who are your current clients now, major clients? There's a reason behind me asking you. I mean, if you're okay to share that, we can.
So our clients are, I don't know if you are allowed to name the clients.
We put them on the website.
We have Zoin, which is a recruitment company.
Yeah, we hosted him here.
Rakesh, and we know
Good
that.
friend, Rakesh, right?
Yes. So they
I'll tell you the reason why I asked you. There are many typical traditional companies still who believes in that human-to-human interview process.
Okay.
So if you are going to pitch them this particular product of yours, how is their acceptability level?
I'll tell you that we have a range, right? On one side, he said Zoin, that you know is new age because
Right.
you have kind of
So not
hosted
the
them.
traditional,
Now we also have, let's say on the other hand, an IIT that
Okay.
has also tried it, right?
Okay.
So, for example, where people see is that we are not saying just believe the AI and take it. We are helping you get to a very trustworthy shortlist.
Okay.
So, let's say your funnel starts off with 300 candidates.
Okay.
By evaluating people on a mix of screening, technical, behavioral, acting out a real life scenario or a case study, we can show the results for that.
Okay.
So from the 300, now you have gone on to the top 15 or 10. That is your choice. You say, at the end of it, we also believe that a human can't be replaced, but the human should put more thought into the cultural context, which is how is that a fit for my company? Right? There are a lot of software elements. How would they fit in with the mix? Things like that. So we say the last round should be still by the company,
By the company.
but this is our differentiator
There's
because
still a possibility. Some individuals can be really good when they talk to you in person. They may not be really great when a camera is put in front of you. So there's a straight rejection of the candidate there.
I think thanks to COVID,
Is it?
now
Yeah.
majority of the people,
Because I had this problem.
right?
everyone has
I can't look there and talk.
no, but I'll add a few things, right? Everyone is now very familiar with
Yeah.
a Google Meet or a Zoom or a WebEx, what have you, right? Everyone understands the concept of going into a call.
So many of them, have lost their jobs, or I would say changed their profession moment a teacher was asked to deliver classes in front of a camera, because the adaptability skills really matters.
Yeah.
Really matters a lot there, right? So that is where I said some may not be. A candidate might be really very good, but he just lost the interview because he was spending it virtually with you.
Right. But I think there is a upside to this. While there are cases like that,
I agree that these are Generation Z.
I'm saying
Okay.
there is an opposite case
It's an opposite
that
case.
we find also from the feedback
Okay.
of the candidate. So at the end of our interview, we typically ask, how was this experience for you? Right? And what we found is that a lot of the candidates are actually
Yeah,
saying,
they did well.
I think we did quite well in this round because I had the time and the thought process to gather my
Okay.
thoughts and therefore
That's
to
fine.
present it with much more clarity.
Perfect.
And second feedback that we also got is with the real interviewer, they feel shy to ask the question, can you please repeat? Can you tell me a little bit? Is that what you mean by it? And therefore, those are again opportunity losses that you are regaining here.
Yes.
And the bigger one in a face-to-face is you have to really meet the person. Now there are a lot of opportunities in tier 1, right?
True. Yes.
So now by having a tool like this, you are really democratizing those opportunities. So that we also see in some of the hires
That is where actually my next question was. What are you doing for tier 3, tier 4 cities?
you want to mention.
Exactly the point, right? One of our clients, a software engineering firm, they essentially said we hired people from cities we never heard of,
Okay.
right? And the reason is that because we threw it open and said, come take the interview, and you get shortlisted, we will take a further round of interview and take it, right? So the feedback that we got from the employer side, we were able to target people from tier 3, tier 4 cities we would have never visited ourselves.
Okay.
And if you're getting 100 profiles, now we're getting 100 profiles, we're able to even take those, right? And these people are also more likely to join, are more likely to stay with us for longer period of time,
Hunger.
right? Because they are coming in, they know that they have to step up the game, right? To join us.
All right.
So at least that has been our feedback, the feedback that we've received, that there's a lot more acceptance because now in a tier 3, tier 4 college, you're someone who wants to prove out and they don't have as many opportunities.
True.
So this is a great way for them to get into it.
So if at all I need to ask you this, when you go with this product to your clients, what can be the base of rejection?
So few things, right?
Just pause.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Please, I think there are several.
How do I trust the evaluation that the AI is giving?
Exactly.
Is a concern area, right? Second is I'm looking at body language and confidence. Can your AI tell me body language and confidence?
Agree.
Right? So these are some of the things, and what we tell them is you're not replacing the human. Right? And in fact, I wanted to ask you, right, will AI take my job? Right? I think my answer is a human being with an AI will take a job unless you're using AI yourself.
Yeah.
Because, right? So it's not AI is not going to take a job. A human being who's also learned to use AI, and be more productive, will take it. So the same thing, right? For in this perspective as well, right? We're not saying completely eliminate the hiring manager. You're not doing that. It's a tool to augment you, help you in that process, right? And so there are things that AI is going to be great at. Use it for that. There are the human aspects to it and cultural aspects to it, which you should continue to take in the traditional way that you're doing. So that's our answer, but those are some of the feedback that we get.
But I'm sure all the challenges that you mentioned, you have worked upon it.
So we don't want to also do the things that, let's say, the AI is not good at, right? Just going back to that, we want to play on the strengths and see how that can improve the efficiency and the productivity. And one of the things that we are saying is also you don't have to, we are not advocating a new way of hiring, correct? So let's say you say, okay, first, even now screening happens, and screening right now is a non-human process most of the times. People are relying on ATSs, correct? You are relying on the keywords. You are relying on the resume.
Right.
And this is also where we are not an English-speaking nation, first of all. Many people cannot explain, even if they have a depth of knowledge, even if they have done something, in the 3 lines in a resume, right? So there is, if you give people an opportunity to actually explain what they are capable of, the chances that you understand them better is a lot higher. So one has to look at it from different lens, and I will not go out and say, listen, I'm going to configure an AI to look at your body language. It is not good at it, then why to do it, right? So let's get good at the things that it can do and we lack at the moment. while we have, so it just dovetails back to his answer of human plus AI greater than either just AI or a human.
True.
Yeah.
Have you experimented this at all the levels, from mid-level, bottom level,
We've taken interviews
or is it only for tech-related jobs?
We've taken. No, it's tech. We've done life sciences. We've done recruitment with Join. We've done for one of the IITs. We did it for the community manager. What others? Yeah, we've done for some for MBA hiring. More. So it's a more broad spectrum.
Have you ever received a feedback where the candidate has gone through the whole process and they have been selected, and finally the company says, there's a big difference what the analysis said and what the candidate is actually is?
You want to mention?
Just an example.
I'm not sure if we have that as a thing.
So which means there is an accuracy.
There's a correlation. Yes, people have been rejected after the AI interview. They were rejected, right? And early on, when our anti-cheating was not that strong, we had some people who had cheated through the AI interview, and all of that is no longer there.
No, that happens in the physical interview as well. Just wanted to know, the accuracy part of it.
100%. Cheating happens in interviews as well. With the AI also, but the barrier for a candidate.
Sometimes it happens from the resume level only. There's a mismatch of what your resume and what you are
Because resumes are always written by ChatGPT now.
these days.
Here's my resume, here's a job description, give me a new resume. It happens all the time, right? So which is why resume doesn't have a signal anymore from at least an employer perspective.
Yeah, I should.
In my last 25-30 minutes of interaction with you, I found this is a wow product. The question is, are your competitors watching you? Do you have competition?
do.
There are a lot. See, I see it more as co-opetition rather than competition. Also because, when something is new, right? If there are a lot of people that are also advocating for something like this, that is what brings the overall barrier down. Then it depends on the quality, the accessibility, the affordability, all of those kind of angles that one needs to work on to then make it more adoptable. Correct? So I think that is where it is. And the market is large, right? It's not that one player takes it all.
Exactly.
Now, even if you look at anything, whether it's recruitment agencies, whether it's tools, whether it's e-commerce, competition is also healthy because then overall you see that people get the best value, they have options, and we can't build everything, neither can somebody else. So I always see it as,
The tide will lift all boats, basically.
yeah, the tide will lift all boats.
There's a rapid changes that happens in technology, especially in the AI.
Yes.
Now, how do you keep yourself updated on these?
Spend 2 hours in the morning reading news and an hour in the evening, because especially in generative AI. And
I hope you have conveyed this message to the students today. This generation hardly reads any news
to
material.
stay up to
You have
I mean, there is absolutely, in with generative AI, new models are released every day. The cost
Tomorrow it can be outdated, what you have done today.
of generative AI is going down, 10x every year. The cost of using a large language model is going down 10x every year. That's the headline, I would say, right? So in that scenario, right, how do you take advantage of that and stay up to date, right? Like voice technologies was a novelty when we started, but today has also started becoming a commodity. So now, how do you take advantage of all of this, right? And what is next, right? So at least from our perspective, right, what is next for us is also, like we said, screen share, the ability that we have not seen in the market, right? Look at the candidate screen, and if they're making a presentation, ask questions on the presentation. So those are some of the things that will keep coming up.
Okay.
And how do you stay up to date? The other aspect of it is you have to do a lot of prototypes, right? So it's not that the product gets built on one day, right? You add a lot of small prototypes.
Correct.
90% of them will fail, but they will shape your product in different ways. So be open to building a lot of prototypes, a lot of hacks. That's at least my suggestion, going forward.
And I also think there is a lot of value to the experience. right? I mean, you are only hearing Shri and I, but Samkeet is there. He's our third co-founder.
Okay.
And he has a lot of experience in building more things that are stable and scalable.
Lovely.
So that means that the experience that you get, that also matters.
Very true. Swetha, in this domain of yours, the product of yours, how are we placed globally? Are there similar products?
US,
There are
emerging economies.
these products are emerging, so I wouldn't say that there's one which is right? And there's a big spectrum, but also every market is different, right? So in the US also, there are privacy laws, there are data protection laws, so every market has its own legal and data protection and IT related laws, and right. So that's one, right? So while this product has nothing inherent which says this is India only, there's the legal aspect of it and protection aspect of it that we have to take when you take it to a global audience. So that's one. But from a product perspective, there are players that have emerged. All of them are early, like us. We're also early. It's not a mature product. It has only started becoming viable a few months ago, 6 months ago, maybe. So because it's a very new thing. It's not that everyone has heard of these, but there are players. They are coming up.
And I think that also having this global perspective is important, right? And to build the product in different ways. Now in India, because also, no, our main pain point is we have a lot of candidates. How do we effectively now bring them down? Now, for another company, it could also be that I want more diversity. Another one, it could be how can I have somebody that is calibrating all of my interviews? Can I say that with confidence that all of my interviews are calibrated? Because I'm using different interviewers. So the way of asking questions or what are the things that are focused on do get different with different people doing the same thing, right? So I think all of those are very valuable perspectives to bring in.
Great. If I have to end this discussion, considering the trends that we are seeing in AI and in the recruitment processes and all that, what's in the bucket list with Think41? What next? Any further plans?
Continue in the Recruit41 in the same recruitment space. There's a lot of different ideas that we have, right? Now, right now, for example, we don't have a AI avatar, right? Which is, and it's like as though the AI participant has turned off their camera. That's how it looks like today. So there are models which are available, which can, you can have a person realistic looking avatar talking to you. Do we want to explore that? That's one. There's different kinds of industries that we have to go into where they have their own specific nuances. How do I hire for manufacturing? And therefore, what is the kind of format in which you ask, right? That's another aspect. There are aspects of reducing the cost. One of the things that we are very interested in, which is our differentiator, is how can we run this at low cost by using machine learning models running in your own device, in the browser itself, right? So that's from the engineering side, that's a focus for us. In different languages, today we are predominantly English, but how do we go to
Multi-bhashi.
Yeah.
Anything new in your mind, Swetha?
In my mind, it's going to be more about, expanding, let's say, the opportunities that are there more from the viewpoint of the candidates. Increase, when I say that, increase the diversity in any of the teams, and how can we shape this tool or the process towards that. On the second hand, you also have more from fast growing companies. I mean, India is now a very growing economy, touch wood. Soon we are going to serve the world a lot more than we do currently across different industries. So there is also pressure on the businesses that say, how quickly can I add talented people to my team in order to not miss out on business opportunities? can we support them in that? Here we are just scratching the surface, right? Any industry that we take is an ocean that we would have to go deeper into. But I think if we have made an impact on those two axes, I think we are on the right track.
Lovely. Sripathi said this session is viewed by the budding entrepreneurs. The people watching you also would love to be one day like a Sripathi or a Swetha. So your tips for them, please.
I would say keep learning, right? This is spend a lot of time in learning, at least, and this is more from at least from the engineering perspective, right? Learn a lot of the new technologies that keep coming up. Never stop building. I would say that creativity comes by trying out 100 things and a few of them will succeed, right? You don't know beforehand which of them will. So try out those 100 different things, right? And this could mean small. And now the bar for building something has gone down so substantially because of the ChatGPTs of the world. They write a lot of the code, and it may not be production that you can take to a client, but at least for prototype, this is an invaluable tool. So my suggestion is build more and keep experimenting, keep tinkering. That's the hacker spirit, and at least I would embody that, and I would ask people to take that. Build more.
And one point on your behalf, I would say, keep reading newspapers and news channels.
Yeah, keep reading, keep following the market. Yes, that's an absolute must. Whatever is your area of expertise, but yes, please read.
Swetha, all you.
I'm a budding entrepreneur myself, right?
You have been humble enough to say it.
But I think
But you had a fabulous journey, yeah? So you definitely have some good suggestions to say.
I would say it's just to really unlearn and relearn, yeah, and have the humility that you don't know everything.
True.
True. That's where you tend to innovate. Correct? Fantastic. Students, I think we had, as always, wonderful enlightening session, I would say. Each and every sessions giving you unique ideas, great experiences that they share. It's all the lessons which the four walls of the classroom at times don't give you. In GIBS, we always believe in giving students exposure beyond the four walls, beyond the curriculum, beyond the syllabus. That's where the program like this comes into the picture. On behalf of all my student viewers, I extend my heartfelt thanks to both of you. You guys are doing wonderful. Best wishes on behalf of GIBS to both of you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thanks for having us, and it's been a great experience being here and talking to you and to the students. And
Yeah.
The pleasure is ours. Thank you. Students, I'm sure there were loads of takeaways from this session. Keep watching. I'm sure there are many more exciting sessions on its way. As of now, this is Guru Prasad, host for today, signing off. Thank you for watching.